Howdy, hi. It's been a couple days since I made a reading, and this may be my last reading here as I am moving. I'm currently de-stressing because it's happening very quickly, so I'm like not necessarily procrastinating. A little bit I am, but that's because I already got on top of my things. It just it's a weird feeling because it feels like I can't say that a lot of things are technically unresolved because it's not like there are things that particularly need to be resolved, but I like having everything like perfect and in perfect alignment and everything like prepared and scheduled, and there's a lot of, it's just very quick. But that's fine. I'm gonna have to, I haven't even started packing yet, really. I don't have many things, but I am gonna wait to know exactly what I'm looking at as far as moving. I'm gonna be flying, and I don't know if planes will let me bring multiple bags, or if I'm gonna have to try to ship a couple of them, and if that's the case, then I have to like figure out exactly what I'm trying. So I gotta wait until just a little bit later until I kind of have more information. Plane of Mars came out. I decided to use this Oracle deck, and I'm just going to be shuffling it and using that for a talking point. When I've seen this Plane of Mars card, it's resonated of like taking time to look at the past to know exactly how one wants to move forward in the future. Like, this person's on Mars and they're looking at these broken down civilizations that used to exist that almost look Greco-Roman, and you know, there's like a dead animal here, there's a sword in the ground. It's got this idea of like there had been a war at one point a very, very long time ago, and the idea that like, I mean, it's Mars. We aren't currently, you know, cultivating our civilization on Mars. So it kind of denotes like a past existence, and we've moved past that, but now we're looking back at that to be able to like recultivate in this space, but in a way that is more beneficial than we did in the past, more sustainable rather than what we did in the past. Which is fair. You know, like when I moved here, I thought my intent when I moved here to this specific space was for it to be longer term. My intent was to be able to calm down and settle in for at least 6 months, wherever it was that I was going to settle in. But as soon as I moved here, I just got a lot of different feelings that this may not actually be where I was to settle down. So I tried to make myself as comfortable as possible, but also kept that in the back of my mind, and had things up in the air that way. And as I'm looking forward into the future right now, like, I'm fairly certain. It's hard to say. It's weird because I'm stepping into this whole new reality where things seem a little more stable than they've ever been. I know it doesn't seem that way to anybody else in the world. To those that have been going through nonstop hard times, they're finally figuring it out and things start to feel a lot more stable, when meanwhile, like, everything's on fire, Trump's about to be president, everybody's freaking the fuck out. But like, for me, I feel far more stable and sustainable than ever. More balanced, more at peace, more abundant in general. And yeah, as I'm looking forward into the future, I'm seeing that like this is likely going to be where I settle for 6 months to a year. That's what I'm setting out for. I would like to be able to actually, I've always kind of kept myself from expressing goals by being future minded that way. Because the second certain people find out, there's always people watching me, and the second somebody finds out what my intents are, what my plans for the future are, they try to sabotage them. There's always people trying to involve themselves and break my shit down. I think a lot of people just don't, they see me and they're like, you don't deserve it. I deserve it, not you. I don't know why people feel these ways. I've worked extremely hard for the things that I do have. I've worked extremely hard interpersonally in order to have the grounding and foundations that I do have. I've done the work to not just be a selfish fuck, and it tends to be those that are selfish fucks that feel that way, but I digress. To each their own, but I trust that I'm protected. I trust that I'm protected. There's so many different things that I could be considering, like, oh, but this and this and this and this, that could lead into a paranoia, and none of that's ultimately going to serve me. I want to be able to say this is my goal and intent, and then to be able to follow through on those things regardless. And so that's what I'm attempting to cultivate. It's what's already being cultivated truly within me. Yeah, and so that's where I'm at with that. It's so weird how things work out that way, but like I do listen to the universe. I really, really do. I've learned to. It's been wild. There's been a lot, like when I first was learning, not last year, but the year before. I've been learning all my life, but in 2023, I was really, really tested with like, okay, take a leap of faith and trust no matter what. And I was extremely tested in that. The second that I decided to make that choice, there was like, the sense of reward seemed so vague in comparison to the sense of those things coming up against me to make me feel like I had made the wrong choice, or that I wasn't doing the right thing, or that I couldn't trust myself, essentially. And that was hard. And I lost a lot just to learn that, like, it's okay. I know I can still trust myself. I know this doesn't make sense. I know that I'm losing a lot, but I know that this is what's right. And as I've moved through that, like, it has definitely brought me to a point now where, like, I don't question it. I don't question it when I feel things. Like, I just go wholeheartedly into everything. And the second that I feel otherwise, the second that I start to feel that pull in a different direction, or that caution to slow down, or to stop, or to look around, or to, walk in a different direction, or put my focus elsewhere, whatever it is, I just listen. I don't try to make excuses for it. I don't try to explain it to myself. I don't try to understand it. Those things become revealed. They end up always revealing themselves later on. And they've continued to do that time and time and time again. And now my life is like in this weird place where it's like started to take this really wild and interesting turn where, like, I was never in control. I was in control of myself, and no, I wasn't, right? For so long. But now I'm at a point where, like, I can recognize that I'm not in control, but because I'm in control of myself, like, it's like flying a plane. Like, you're not in control of the weather. You're not in control of the wind. You're in control of the vehicle, of the vessel that has these different ways to use those things to its benefit or not. And it's about your education of that vehicle, as well as your confidence in maneuvering that vehicle, that allows you to be a good pilot or not, right? Even the best pilot, I'm sure, comes upon different types of experiences, whether it be weather or, you know, birds flying into different planes, flying in certain areas, like whatever it may be, different people on the plane. Like, I'm sure even the best pilots come across issues. It's an extremely stressful job. From what I've learned is that it's heart and brain surgery. Being a surgeon, working in the ER, being a pilot, being a chef. I think those are those are a couple of the top three, very close at least to the very top three most stressful jobs. Any, you know, like, they're not military jobs, obviously. They're not like those types of jobs, but regular jobs that a person could have. I think teaching might also be up there to some degree, but it probably depends on the teaching as well. But regardless, yeah, so it's not like there isn't stress involved. It's that you learn how to manage it well. And so much of that is just, like I said, just like flying a plane. Like, it's like coasting. It's just knowing when to dip and when to dive and when to, you know, turn either way in order to maintain balance. Once you find that balance, it's just about maintaining that, and then everything goes according to plan. It's totally different from that though too, because there isn't a necessary plan that same way. I have ambitions and goals, but I don't know what is going on next door, but everything is like shaking. I say next door, in the next room. But I mean, I do, but at the same time, like, I mean, those are the things I'm moving towards. Again, like, yeah, I have a set destination, but I don't control the weather. Doesn't mean I don't still have to fly there, right? So yeah, everything I've been learning and cultivating has been to get me to where I'm at now and to get me to where I'm going. And it's nerve-wracking and it's exciting and it's just fascinating to me. If you would have asked me, you know, 5 years ago, it's 2025 now, so if you would have asked me 5 years ago, just prior to COVID and everything like that, like where I would be right now, I don't think where I'm at here in Texas or where I'm headed would have been on my radar. Sorry, I want to set this up so you can actually see the cards. I am certainly not complaining in that way. It's just... no, not at all. It's incredible. I'm absolutely amazed. I mean, man, it was like the last few months of 2020 that I was drinking. I know I was drinking wine around the holidays pretty consistently, having a glass or two a day, but that's not a norm for me at all, and drinking in of itself really isn't much of a norm for me. And in 2020 was when there was like almost 4 months where I was drinking a bottle of whiskey a day. It took like maybe 5 days for me to actually get up to the bottle a day, and then it was literally, and like one of those, like, you know, bottles that are like that tall. You know, like, I think they're a liter, maybe a liter or two, something like that. The bits couldn't be 2 liters. It's a liter, I think. Still, not good, and I didn't see a future for myself. I didn't want to see a future for myself, honestly. I did see a future for myself, but I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to accept it. I knew that it was going to take a lot of work that I at the time didn't feel willing to do. But thankfully, it's never been about me. The universe continues to use me whether I'm willing or not. It only helps me that I'm willing, to be honest. I've noticed that it's not about being willing so that you can be used. You're going to be used regardless. Your willingness is just what helps you fall on one side or the other of gratitude. And life is a lot better when you can actually be thankful for it, you know? That much is for certain. So let's see. Let's have a little chat. Oh, okay. It's actually, okay. Okay. I actually got this message earlier today. Pretty strong, but I was busy doing a bunch of things. So trying to sell my car and shit, which I did, which is great. But I was busy, and so I didn't do it. So what I would actually like to do, I got this message this morning very strongly, that there's somebody specific that needs a specific message. It's not me. I know my readings tend to be very personal that way, where obviously I'm taking and just kind of flowing through my own bias. I've picked up that others receive that as well, for the fact that other people have commented on my videos as they've been watching them and been like, okay, well, obviously this is like a self-therapy talk for you, but I take a lot out of it, which is ideal. I mean, that's great. That's really is kind of how I've done these things and what I've hoped for. But this specifically is like not necessarily something personal to me at all, but it's something that came to me. So there's a way that I'm supposed to be putting something. There's something that I can add to it. There's something I can take away from it. There's something, some way that I can communicate whatever this message is that is really important for somebody to hear. And I trust that I have no idea who this person is. I didn't pick up on the actual energy specifically. I might as I get into the reading. I'm trying to get into it right now, the energy that I had this morning, that I received this morning. But I don't know who it is. I trust that the universe will send them here to receive it. Or that even somehow, just by me speaking these things, that it gets out somehow to where it needs to get, you know? I don't try to act like I understand all of the ways of the universe, because I know that these things can be very big and very spread out in ways we wouldn't even believe. But I do trust that whoever this message is for, it will reach them the way that it needs to, at the time that it needs to. I also trust that putting this energy out as it was given to me to put out, that doing this because I was called to will benefit those that it needs to, will help those that it needs to. I don't know who watches all of these things. It could be one person watching a video 20 times. It could be 20 different people watching it for, you know, just long enough that it counts. Like, I really don't know, and I try not to worry about those things, concern myself with those things at all. I just trust that whatever these messages are, in anything that I do and say, that it reaches those that it needs to at the time that it needs to, and that it resonates with them the way that it needs to in order to serve them as best as it can. And that goes even for the most ridiculous things that I post, you know, like even when I'm being real goofy or being like, even like, you know, my humor gets a little sarcastic and dry and misogynistic and things like that too. But I do trust that, like, my expression of my experience of, you know, of my experience, it is a blessing to those that it needs to be. Because even as I experienced that energy this morning, this is now my expression of it. So with that being said, that's the energy I'm getting into. And what it seemed like to me, and I have had this before, where like I literally can feel souls crying out into the abyss. Like, I can feel the yearning of souls that are just like, God, the universe, angels, anyone who could possibly hear me, if there is anyone out there, like, please hear me now, because this is really deep on my heart, and I don't know who else to go to, and I don't know how to communicate these things, and I don't know how to receive these things, or what's going on, or what I need. Please help me. And I feel that. And sometimes it is specific people. Sometimes I can feel that on specific people. Sometimes I get it in dreams. You know, especially in the astral realm, when I'm like in a certain sensitive space, my soul will just move to those who are in that space, crying for those things. But this morning I was definitely awake. I was lucid. And it felt like my heart is longing to do something, or to be somewhere, or to be with someone, or to do something with someone, or to my heart is longing for something quite specific. And I know what that thing is, but I don't know if it's truly right for me. Like, I can't see it any further than just the surface. And there's an intimidation level and a fear factor there, for the fact that this person is intellectual, an emotional person, for sure, and in touch with their emotions. They're not a hardened intellectual, but they do tend to focus and think mostly with their intellect. And, you know, they don't usually engage in shallow connections, shallow experiences, circumstances, if they can help it, unless they're in control of them to some degree. This seems like something that, like, maybe there's like a comfort level that they've been experiencing where they do have that sense of control, but they've actually not been comfortable with that lately. They've been wanting to reach out, step into the unknown, kind of take a risk, do something different. They've just kind of felt a stirring in their soul for some sort of evolution, transition, and then something was either presented to them or kind of like forced upon them in some sort of way, like just kind of showed up out of the blue, some sort of announcement, some sort of message, some sort of experience, whatever it was, that kind of opened them up, their heart up to being like, okay, well, I think this is what I want, but what do I do with that? Because at the same time, like, I don't know if it's actually what's best. I don't know if it's what I need. Am I really just wanting this, or is it something actually good for me? Feeling just a bit overwhelmed, feeling like I'm not trying to be in control, but at the same time, like, I don't know what to do if I'm not in control. And I don't know, like, how I'm supposed to move forward in any of these directions if it's not in a space of being in control. And I don't think that this person is necessarily struggling to humble themselves fully. There's likely an aspect of themselves that they've never fully looked at, maybe not even fully, like, embraced as their own. And it's weird because I didn't necessarily feel it. Like, what I'm hearing right now is like, I'm just looking for a sign. I'm just looking for a sign. But I think that's coming from my own heart and like where I've been lately. This is resonating slightly different. Like I said, this isn't a personal reading from me. It's a personal reading for somebody. But like the energy this morning was very much like, what do I do? Not even like, give me a sign. Like, I don't think this is somebody normally naturally given to like looking outside of themselves to begin with. Like, that's something I always struggled with, was being kind of toxically codependent. And so I like doubled down on being very self-sufficient and self-reliant. This is somebody that comes naturally to, and it almost is as if the universe is trying to draw them out of that shell a bit in order to reach out, in order to do something just bigger, something beyond themselves somehow, something, you know, and it's ultimately, it's something that their heart wants, but they're questioning if that's good enough. You know, maybe they know their hearts and they know that their heart, you know, tends to change, and so they're you know, feeling like this is shallow, or maybe they just don't want to be somebody like given to this type of behavior or commitment or type of thing. I mean, I resonate with this a lot. I imagine that's probably why this energy came to me. But it is definitely something outside of myself, and yeah, it's almost like that. Like it's almost like that. Like they're willing to reach outside of themselves, but only within a certain comfort zone. And the universe is like, just a little bit further, and that's so scary. I mean, it's like, it reminds me of this video that I saw where this woman's like had rescued a type of parrot, and she's like, I'm scared of him. She's like, I'm scared of him and I don't know what to do. I want to be affectionate with him, but he's terrifying. And she's like, I think he, you know, came from a really abusive space. And then like, she's like, 'cause he keeps doing this thing, and he'd be like, what's wrong? Come here. It's okay. Come here. And he'd like look all crazy. She'd be like, no, I don't want to come here. I'm not going to come near you. And he's like, no, what's wrong? Come here. She's like, you're going to hurt me. And he's like, come here. She's like, no, because you're going to hurt me. And he's like, what's wrong? No, come here. And then she's like videotaping it herself. So she like goes to get close to him, and he just starts attacking her. And she's like, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't get close to you because every time I get close to you, you try to attack me. So it's kind of like I'm getting that energy, but I'm getting it like from this, like a metaphorical sense of this person looking at the universe like that, where it's like that enticement of like, okay, I'm reaching, I've extended as far as my arms can go, right? As past what is within my arm's length, my arm's reach. And the universe is like, just a little further. Like, come on, just a little further. And they're looking at it like as if the universe is like, come on, just come a little closer. I'm like, God, no, I'm so scared. But I'm not getting a fearful energy out of this person either. It's more of, there's an emotion here. There's a sadness. There's a sadness. Even more than like a frustration or a fear. There's an uncertainty for sure. It's almost like the thing that they're certain about is something that is sad. And then that's like triggering this fear and the uncertainty that like, well, if what I already know is sad, I don't know if I could handle it getting any sadder. You know, and the universe is just like, just a little bit for, it's like running a race where you're just running and you're 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 like, oh my God, am I ever going to get to the end? And there's like multiple different times where like it feels like it should be the end, and then you look and it's like fucking 5 more miles, like 20 more miles, whatever it is, and it just feels like you're just never going to get there, to the point that like you're practically delirious by the time you get to the end. And at the end it's like, they're like, keep running. People are coming along behind you and are like, keep running. It's just ahead. Like, it's literally just over that ridge. And it's like, God, I've heard that before. And I don't know if I can handle the heartbreak again. I don't know if I can handle that again. But it's like, just a little more. And it's so hard because it's like, don't run the entire race and then quit just at the end. But it's like, oh yeah, but I've already felt like it was the end multiple times, and it wasn't. It's like, totally understand the feeling. But I mean, it ain't over till the fat lady sings, right? It ain't over till it's over. Okay, so let's get into this energy and see what messages come out for whoever this is, whatever this is about. These cards are sticking. There's a lot of different things that could be said, that want to be said, And it's like trying to sift through to find like, yeah, but I just need to say the right thing because otherwise it gets too muddled. And God knows that I know a thing or two about that. You get me going, and like I will be as thorough as possible to the point that I'm sending you 30 extremely long, intricate messages just to ensure that I hit every point. And some people are like, okay, they can process that. They understand like this bitch has got some serious ADHD. But ultimately, this person is looking to be concise. They want to be able to be straightforward. They want to say what they mean, and they want to mean what they say. And they're really trying to wade through all of these, the chaos of these emotions and all of these different, not opportunities, but like scenarios, I guess, in order to determine what really is the best course of action. Let me do this one more time. If nothing else comes out, I might end up using another deck. Because there's definitely a lot that wants to come out here. But like I said, the energy is trying to balance itself in a way that it can be more direct. Just straight to the point. Which I think a struggle there too is that there's a great risk that comes with being so straight to the point. You know, I've tried to get better about my communication style so that a lot of what I'm communicating isn't just like cushion for the things that I'm saying. I try to be very direct. I'm just always like recognizing things from fucking 20 different perspectives and trying to cover all of those bases. This person isn't struggling with that. They more have a tendency to like, if they get chatty, it's because they're not covering up what they want to say, but they're being less direct. And the words get a little fluffy, and it's not really getting to the meat and bone of what they're trying to say. I think they also recognize that they might have a tendency to say things that are easily misconstrued, potentially as like rude or selfish, inconsiderate somehow. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but it does seem like they recognize that like they're not always well received when they try to be received a certain way. It's like they have to be just completely direct and then just accept like, okay, if that came across like I'm an asshole, it is what it is. Hopefully this person knows me enough and loves me enough that they won't take it that way. But like then there's that fear of like, okay, well I don't want it to be like that, but at the same time, like the more I try to embellish on this and try to soften it up and try to, you know, say what I think this person wants to hear, the more that it's like it's not even saying really what I want to say. And this person cares very much that like what they say is received exactly as they mean it, that these things are well understood, that they're well received. I think there's a fear of rejection I'm getting like out of expressing this. So I'm not sure if they're like trying to make some sort of proposal, some sort of like suggestion, some sort of like, maybe they're looking into the future and they like want to, you know, be like, hey, you want to start a business, or hey, you want to be in this type of relationship, you want to move to this place, or you want to do this type of thing. Maybe they're talking to like a business partner, a boss, you know, a family member, even like a parent or something like that, like about like a change in the dynamics of their relationship. Whatever it is, it's something that to them feels like very serious, very necessary, but like it could easily kind of be taken the wrong way and then kind of go awry. And there's like a risk factor for sure that goes with this in the rejection. And maybe it's just that like they feel that if they can communicate this properly, that it could go very well. But if they miscommunicate it, that it could go the opposite, and then they'd like be beating themselves up, like not just rejection, but like that, like it's my fault that this didn't go the way that I had planned. There was a lot that came while I was saying that, but that's where I'm at right now. Okay. The two oracles that we have that came out, well, it came out really on their side like this. So let me get just some clarification for the left side. Clarification for the left side of these oracle cards. The receiving side. Clarification for the receiving side. Any more clarification for the receiving side, for the left side of these oracle cards? And clarification for the right side, for the giving side of these oracle cards. 2 cards, please. Well, I guess whatever comes out. The clarification for the right side of these oracle cards. Clarification for the right side of these oracle cards, please. Any messages that will be helpful? What I'm hearing right now is that if no cards come out, okay, good. So did it come out? Can I get one more, please? One more would be great. Thank you. So I'm going to leave that face down, since that's the way it came right now. Okay. Okay, so we have water and we have color. Beautiful cards. We actually got water, interestingly enough, the last time as well. Not only did we get it the last time, but I think it also came out on its side. Okay, so maybe the last message that I did will resonate with you if you haven't watched it. Just a suggestion. Okay, water, and it's in the left hand. So receiving the flow of the universe, receiving the flow, receiving emotions. Is that the struggle is receiving? Like the concern is how these, not just how these emotions will be received, but how this person is going to be able to receive whatever emotions come out of that. Like, I guess the biggest fear would be that, like, not only do I pour out my emotions, but that they're not well received, and then I get a backlash that I can't properly handle. Like, that's kind of that trepidation I was talking about earlier. Like I said, it could have to do with a job. It could have to do with a romantic relationship. It could have to do with something like that. But it's almost like, because like if I say the wrong thing and it doesn't come across right, like I could really get fucked over. I could lose everything, or something that's very important to me. Or maybe like my reputation's on the line about it. My paychecks are on the line about it. My, house, job, sense of stability, whatever it is, my ego, whatever it is on the line. It's almost like it's asking to put that on the line. Like that's the universe is almost like put this person in a position of like, you have to be willing to lose this thing in order to move forward. That's not a guarantee that you're going to lose it. The hope is that you don't. But you have to be willing to in order to move forward in this way. And who knows, maybe you'll not only be blessed with it, but you'll be blessed with like exponentially beyond it. But for at least as it stands, yeah, there's just this, which is, it's interesting, but like I was talking about at the beginning of this video, you know, when the universe, in 2023, when I was first put through that process, like hardcore, I've been put through it so many different times in so many different ways, but in 2023, it was like real significant. Like, take this leap of faith with nothing, leave everything behind and trust. And man, I lost a lot. I don't know if I could have necessarily even done anything different to keep from losing the things that I lost. To be honest, I probably would have lost them somehow one way or the other. And who knows, maybe it would have been much harder. But I think that's where this fear is coming from for this person too, is like, that's what they've seen, you know, that as soon as the universe starts asking people to put their faith right on the line about things, like that's when shit starts to get real, and they're just not sure they're strong enough to handle that, to handle what is at least perceived to be almost an inevitable loss that may come from this experience. I think there's even just an ego attached to putting this certain thing on the line, even if it's the ego itself, but that there's an ego attached to it where it's like putting this on the line is somehow emasculating. So maybe this, I mean, I am feeling like a masculine energy, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what it has to be. It could just be a woman in her masculine, a feminine in their masculine quality. But I am getting a masculine energy from this, and that feeling of like the universe being like, you know, like I said, not like humble yourself, but it's not that they're already humble. It's like lower yourself to some degree, or take this risk, put this thing up, gamble. It's not a gamble. It's not a gamble. And let me tell you, it feels like a gamble, and maybe in other time periods and other, you know, maybe at other times this would be a gamble, but if you're listening to this right now and this is resonating with you and you know what I'm talking about, this thing keeps coming to your heart, keeps coming to your mind as I'm talking about this, you know what it is I'm talking about. The universe isn't asking you to gamble. It may look like a gamble, it may feel like a gamble initially, and any other time maybe it would have been. But right now the universe is literally asking you to put this thing down as a sort of down payment, ensuring that you will be rewarded for it. You may not be rewarded exactly as you are setting out to be. So keep your, you know, expect the most from the universe. Expect the best, but don't have such set standards that you can't receive the best when it's given to you because it doesn't fit into the box you already created. Because maybe the universe is trying to give you something even better and you don't even know it yet, and you have to be willing to risk this thing or lose this thing or put this thing through the fire in order for it to become what the universe really wants to give you, which is something so much greater. And this is strong. This is strong, and I'm feeling like I want to share from my own personal experience, but at the same time, like I don't want to scare you away from moving out in faith. You know, I want whoever this is for, whoever's receiving this, like I want you to know that that it's going to be worth it. Especially this year, it's already been promised that the work that you do will come back to you. But it's all about that energy transference, and it's kind of like the universe is asking for this down payment to ensure that your spirit is in the right place, your heart is in the right place, your head is in the right place, so that you can receive these things rightly, so that there doesn't have to be a fear. You know, do what you will, but don't do it in fear. Do it in love. We have the Six of Wands, in the receiving side. A celebration. A victory. That's what you have to be willing to receive regardless. It doesn't matter what's been taken from you. It doesn't matter what's being asked of you to be given. See it all as a victory. See it all as, okay, well, that wasn't what I anticipated. 3 years ago, I would have seen this as a loss, but right now I'm seeing this as a step into the unknown. But I can trust that it's for the better, because I've already been told that it is, and I believe that. I really do believe that. Let yourself believe these things. Let this pour through you. At the same time, we have the Ace of Wands in the reverse, in the right, in the giving side. And normally the Ace of Wands, in the upright would be a symbol of like the most intense passion. One's spiritual, emotional, aptitude, skills, desires. The universe bestowing those things upon someone, giving somebody of their passions, the reward of their passions. In the reverse, I'm getting like, don't let this is really deep, but it's like, don't validate your successes by what you can control, what you can add to, what you can identify as truly of you. That's such a hard, but this is, I'm speaking to somebody who has always equated their value, their inherent value, as a man, woman, partner, child, sibling, worker, coworker, friend, any of these things, by what they have to offer, by what they can do for people, even by how it's received. And being in the reverse, it's like, don't let that cloud your judgment from the success that's being offered you. Don't let that keep you from being willing to take this risk. There's a victory here for you, but it's not going to suffice the definitive ego you've cultivated by determining your value by what you're able to offer or produce. It's not even, and this is something that I have had to learn too. This is something I've been learning in the last 5 years for sure, that it's been a wild ride, but it's also like not even what can be defined by your innate passions. Forever I wasn't terribly career minded. But my close friend at one point had told me, like, you're 30 now, you should start considering, a career. You're getting older, you should start considering a career. You should start, like, looking to kind of settle into something in life. And that just did not resonate with me. But then they got me into comedy, and I was so passionate about it. It was something that came so naturally to me, and something that ended up being quite rewarding in so many different ways. I skyrocketed in a lot of ways, that it was like, oh, this must be the thing. This must be what's for me. Based purely on the passion alone. And I had for the longest time. And I do it even in relationships still. That's why I struggle, because like I do tend to determine success by how what's the word? Seamlessly it kind of synthesizes with my passion, whatever the thing may be. A relationship that isn't passionate is boring. Like, that's not true. And honestly, that's a toxic mindset. But that was what I had to move away from, was that there's times where like everything isn't going to be perfect. This person isn't always going to be, communicating the way that you want, giving you the affections that you want. there for you in all of the ways that you need. There's going to be so much of a healthy relationship that is really determined on you being healthy, period. Has nothing to do with your partner. And it took me a long time to understand that. And with my career, specifically, when I was like, okay, so now I'm building on a career. And I started pursuing comedy. And so much came against me that it really started to change the way I thought about things. And it was very easy for me to become disheartened. But instead, I clung even to a mustard seed of faith, to just this tiny amount of faith that like I was still being led in the right directions, that these things were happening for a reason. And what it did was it started cultivating this concept in me that like, just because it's what I'm passionate about doesn't necessarily mean that that's what I'm being called to do. And if I really want to listen to the actual calling of the universe for me in order to be in alignment with what's truly best for me, which will ultimately serve me better in the end than anything, I have to be willing to be given to my passions by all means, but not let the loudness of those passions block out that calling from the universe about my actual destiny. Ultimately, I believe that they will coalesce, that they will intertwine, that they will come up to meet one another, and that they are essentially one and the same. But until I fully cultivate that concept, I have to do this in trust and in faith. And that's what's being cultivated in me for the last 5 years. And I see that being what is trying to be cultivated in this person as well, in you, whoever's listening to this and still resonating with this. And I mean, that goes into, like I've been saying, like anything that I've learned that's helped made me who I am today, like an actual genuine person, like in alignment with anything with the universe, anything that I have that somebody else could look at and be like, oh, that's admirable, or that's, a good quality. That's something I am attracted to about this person. Even something I envy about that person. Those are all qualities that any person could have. They're all things that anybody can cultivate within themselves, truly. When we're not talking about things that are just surface level, anything that the universe has done through me, it's really done for me, through me, as to show, to prove me to be a tool for that asset. I'm somebody that anybody really can look at and pull from and be able to say, you know what, I relate to that. I can understand that. I could see being where you're at. And if you've done it, then I can do it too. That's what I'm here for. I know that. And, so I know that, like, the fact that this is what has been trying, and I'm stubborn as hell, and I'm dense. It's not even that I'm stubborn. I don't even try to be. I'm just dense. I'm so dense. I am a slow processing system because it has to go through like 20 fucking processings, different processing systems in order to actually be stored and registered as concise data. So, if it's taken me 5 years, I can easily see how it could be only just now being taught to the rest of the collective. But to whoever is resonating with this, it's not going to take you 5 years. It's probably not even going to take you 5 months, to be honest. Like, that's how dense I am, That's how advanced you are. That's how much you really have going for you that you don't even know yet. Whatever the universe is asking you to risk, to put a down payment on, to put up, to sacrifice. It's I don't know if you just heard my lip squeak. It's holding you back from truly being able to see your vast power, influence, success rate. You're a powerful person. You have so much going for you. You know a lot of the things that you have going for you, and you spend a lot of time trying to tame your ego regarding a lot of different things, because it's like, oh, I've got this and I've got this and I've got this and I've got this and I've got this, but I don't want to go around saying all that. But there's so much more. So much more that your ego, honestly, isn't even like a part of it. It doesn't need to get involved whatsoever. When you realize how much you're worth and how much you have to offer and like what the universe is trying to do through you, your ego is going to fall right into place. Because these things are so much bigger than it that like it's not even going to have room to be anything but what it is and what it needs to be. So don't fear that. You don't need to fear that. You don't need to worry about that. Like, the universe isn't doing this because it's trying to hurt you or because it's trying to just prove that you're willing to sacrifice yourself for some narcissistic, entity outside of yourself. That's not what the universe is. The universe cares for you. It has spent its entire existence cultivating itself to this point to be able to move through you. It cares so much about you. It took everything that's ever happened to get into the exact time and space that was required for you to be born. And every time after that to come to where you are today. The universe cares for you so deeply. Everything that has ever happened has been happening for your benefit. You don't have to be afraid to let anything go, because I promise you the universe will give you like 10 times as much as you can ever give it. So give it freely. Give it freely and you will receive the abundance of the universe. It wants so badly to give you these things. It really does. It wants to reward you for your faith. It's been watching you this whole time. It knows. It knows what you've been through. It knows how hard it is. It knows where your heart is. We have color, the prism, light, going through the prism and coming out rainbows, which is such a beautiful depiction of perspective. You just need to change your perspective. You don't need to change yourself. You can remain exactly as you are. This crystal triangle doesn't need to change its form. It simply needs to turn itself one way or the other in order to get that light to hit it in just the right way that it can create all of those prisms. And the beauty of that truly is that you realize that, like, even the most simplest thing you can receive, a single beam of light, not even measurable by the human eye, a single beam of light can explode into a million colors, vibrant colors that everybody can see. All a matter of perspective. Don't be afraid to see yourself clearly, to see yourself differently. You will always be you. You could stand on your head, you could turn all the way around. You're still going to be you. And you might not even realize that it's just your perspective that has been blocking you from seeing all of this light, all of this beauty, all of this color, all of this excitement, all of this promise in the universe. Because the light is shining. You just have to get yourself into alignment in the right way so that you can capture it and then send it back out. It's being clarified in the receiving side by the Four of Cups in the upright, which is generally a card depicting a lack of gratitude. This guy's got 3 cups already, and he's looking at those. The universe is the divine is trying to hand him this other cup, and he's like, no, I don't want it. That cup isn't good enough. But he's not even looking at what's in it. There's no knowing that he knows what's in it. And even if he does, he's not. You have to come at this with the attitude of an alchemist. And like, as if it were a video game, right? Like, you're the alchemist. So now you're in level like 89. And, you know, I was going to say 85 and then I was going to say 88. I chose 89. But you're in this level where like all that's been happening is that the universe keeps giving you cups full of different things. And it's for you to take those things and to turn them into gold. And that's the challenge on every single level, right? And it's almost like I've been doing this forever, very like tediously and intentionally. I get the impression that like the struggle here for this person is that they have this as a natural skill. They have already got this. Like I said, it took me 5 years to do what is going to take you less than 5 months to do. This person is extremely advanced. Extremely knowledgeable, extremely skilled. But they haven't actually had the right circumstance to really develop that, to really just not even develop. I've been developing to express that. And that lack of expression this whole time has like created this weird concept of like, well, maybe I don't even actually have it. Because you haven't had anywhere to use it. How do you know that you have it, right? But at the same time, that's like part of it where the universe is like, okay, well, here's that cup then. Here's the cup I'm trying to give you to prove that you actually know what you're talking about. And it's like that trepidation of like, okay, well, I don't actually know if I have it or not. I know that I do, but I don't because I've never actually done it. So like now everybody's like, okay, well, then show me. And it's like, well shit, you know? So it's almost this like, I'm fine with these 3 cups I already got. Like, I don't even need that cup. We're fine. We can just stay on level 89. It's cool. You know? There's that fear there. Totally understandable. But again, it's just a shift of perspective. A shift of perspective. And like, that's the thing too. It's a selfishness, but it's really like, I mean, it's a totally reasonable fear and concern. It isn't, because you don't even know how incredible you are. You don't even know. Like, I'm so excited for you when you finally let this go and let the universe start moving through you, because you are going to amaze yourself. You're going to amaze everyone. But like, because of this and the lack of perspective, like it's blocking what it is that you're able to actually give. I don't feel like I have these skills. I don't know what I'm going to make. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. And maybe all the time before, like maybe every other time before, it's come really easy. And you've known all of these skills and you've known exactly what it's going to look like on the other side. And you've been able to do it super easily. And now this one is like actually a challenge for the first time. And it's like, I can't be a level 89 just experiencing a challenge for the first time. Like, I'm going to look like an idiot. Everybody thinks I'm so advanced. And what if I fall flat on my face? What if everybody sees that I potentially could fail and I look like a fake, you know? Like, what if, you know? Yeah. It's not even what if I fail. It's like, what if other people judge my failure? So what? If other people can judge your failure, they're also in the wrong perspective. They're spending too much time looking at you and not enough time looking at what they could be doing with their own selves. You don't need to worry about that. You don't need to drop down to their level, you know? The Two of Wands in the reverse. Normally the Two of Wands speaks of opportunity. In the upright, it speaks of opportunity. A feeling like you have the world at your fingertips and you're looking out like, what could I do? Where could I go? What, I mean, there's so much opportunity here, but it's generally pretty positive. It's not necessarily anxiety induced. It's, you know, this feeling of I could do anything. I could go anywhere. I have it all. I have it all. In the reverse, I'm getting the same sort of things as the Ace of Wands. It's almost like you don't need that in order to get where you're going. And also, I think that goal of like being able to be comfortable for things to feel convenient, like, oh, I could just go anywhere, I could do anything, I'm confident, I'm secure in all of these things, that's where the alchemy was always coming from. That was the end goal with all of the alchemy. That was the skill that you were always able to use in order to get where you were going. But this is like a bit of uncertainty that you're learning to rest in. Because ultimately, you're actually going through an alchemization process yourself of learning that gold, and like this is where I'm at, but like learning that gold isn't the greatest thing you could be creating out of all of these things that you've been given. But at the same time, that would still give me the feeling of like the world still being at my fingertips and having all this opportunity. The fact that it's in the reverse and that it's directly under the Ace of Wands. We actually have a lot of wands here. Change of perspective. We're trying to cultivate a deeper change of perspective, a deeper perspective. The alchemization process prior has always looked like change. You have shit and you turn it to gold. They are not the same thing. They're not. That's why this is shit and that's why this is gold. What we're talking about now is being able to stay put. Granted, I'm moving, so again, this isn't even about me that same way. It is, I can take from it, but it's not, this isn't for me. Being able to stay put, being able to at least stay grounded, at least stay on this specific path that you're on, that I can resonate more with. To stay on the specific path that you're on, trusting that what it is that the universe is trying to give you is a change of perspective, and that this is ultimately going to lead you to what it is that is truly meant for you. But this is speaking on a deeper change of perspective. This is how you change your perspective. By, instead of validating that something is better now because it's different, that something is more secure because of A, B, C, D, it's not about the external. It's not about the external. It's talking about going inward, being able to stand grounded in oneself enough to change the perspective, the way that you're looking at it. And that also is giving me that, like, as much as this is talking about a change of perspective, it's also like we're talking about something even deeper than, like, you can move and that will change your perspective. You can date somebody new and that'll change your perspective. You can change your job. You can, change your friend group. You can start eating different. You can work out more. You can, quit certain bad habits. You can do all these different things that are external and they will change your perspective, inevitably. Like I said, it's like taking that crystal and then just turning it ever so slightly any which way. But we're talking about something so much deeper. We're talking about changing, cultivating the vibrations within the crystal itself. Okay, so we're not just talking about being able to receive this singularity and then put it out into all of these different concepts, these different skills, these different capacities, these different rewards, whatever it may be. We're talking about this little space right here, that in between of what is actually happening within that crystal as it transforms a single beam of immeasurable to the naked eye light into fully measurable to the naked eye prisms of color. It's a frequency that happens within that crystal. And so I'm bringing it back to like when I was bringing up like trying to figure out how to communicate a certain thing and feeling like, okay, I got to cut all the fat off in order to be very concise. But like, you don't even have to worry about that. That will end up leading you astray. You can do that forever and still never really get to what you're getting at. To get to the core of what it is that you're trying to convey, you have to get to the core of who you truly are. The core of how it is that you're receiving, what it is that you're receiving, and what you're then doing with it in order to put it out. Not just what you're putting out, but that internal person, their processing of what it is that they've received, of these resources, and then how they're putting it out. I hope that this is making sense for whoever it needs to be making sense for. Let's see, is there any other message? Any other card? Anything else? Perfect. The Knight of Swords in the reverse. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to take a step back, to reconsider, to recalibrate. You don't have to rush these things. You're actually being asked to trust the universe. And part of what it's trying to cultivate in you is that grain of mustard seed that develops into a large tree. But it's that idea that like you really don't need something super sturdy, stable, consistent, validating in order to have faith. You need to have faith comes first, and then comes the security and stability. It's the universe is trying to help cultivate trust within you. A true faith. Not just, Jesus, 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 even though you have no idea what that actually means to you. You're just afraid, and you have been told that the name Jesus is going to save you from hell. You don't even know if you believe in hell, but you don't know what you believe in, and you're scared that if you don't believe in something, that it's going to be bad for you. The universe is telling you, like, don't rush, because you'll miss it. Take your time, take a step back. Be willing to let your emotions flow, both through you, from you, to you. Be willing to change your perspective. You don't get to choose the beam of lights that hit you, but you can choose how they hit you according to where you stand. You can also choose how you cultivate them within yourself and then project them out from yourself. A smoky quartz or some sort of opaque stone is going to be a lot less likely. Like I have a rose quartz right here. Beautiful. But, a beautiful, beautiful quartz. And looking at it with the naked eye, I can see through it, but there is only a couple spaces where you can see the prisms trapped within it. You can. But it's a lot harder because it's such because it's a milky stone, right? Like you can't see all the way through it. To completely cleanse yourself, to completely purify yourself like a quartz is how you would, like a pure clear quartz is how you would allow yourself to be able to actually just let things move through you. Now you're not even projecting. You're literally just receiving, putting out everything that is, in a perfect, seamless way where it's not even affecting you any longer. You have time. You deserve the time that is being given to you right now to cultivate these things. So give yourself that time. The universe is trying to give you a big, big reward. Like, not even just a reward, like a big responsibility, like something huge, something substantial, something universal, something quite sustainable. That takes time, not just to cultivate and to cultivate you into alignment with. It takes time to develop, to grow, to allow time and space to fall into the right space as well. You get yourself in alignment, you may end up, like I said, you come about it real quick. You may end up getting there way sooner and then having to wait for that train. Don't lose hope. Don't lose heart. It's okay to not rush. It's okay to take your time, to smell the roses. But you can trust that whatever it is that you're being asked to do at this time, whatever work it is you're being asked to do, whatever it is that you're being asked to cultivate, whatever this risk is that you're feeling like maybe you should take and you're questioning, like, the universe is trying to guide you to take it rightly. Because if you do it just the right way, you're going to fall into something spectacular. Naturally, like a puzzle piece falling right into place. But it is about just being in this proper alignment. Yeah, well, that's what I got. That's what I got from this reading. I hope that it serves you well. I appreciate whoever you are for taking the time that you have to sit and listen, whether it resonated with you or not. I do appreciate you. I appreciate the time and energy. That way, you know, like I said, I don't even know who watches my things, or even why, but when I see, I don't know, like I said, it could just be one person watching them a whole bunch of times. It could be a whole bunch of people watching it, just not even the whole thing. But just the fact that people watch it all lets me know that, like, there's potentiality for purpose within it. I started doing this essentially for myself because the universe told me to try it out for myself, and it really has done a healing work with me. But ultimately the point is for it to be a healing work for all of us, right? For the collective of which I am a part. And then specific reads like this are definitely for, you know, specific people that have been asking the universe for specific guidance, validation, signs, perhaps. Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly how it comes to you. I don't know what your prayer life looks like, what your relationship with your spiritual team is like. But yeah, I hope that this was good for you. I don't know what the next few days is going to look like for me, but if I don't post for a few more days, it is likely that I will be posting from my new space. Whenever I do, if I don't move out that quickly, I will try to likely do one more, depending. But regardless, you know, keep the faith. Whatever that looks like for you. I know things can feel very chaotic, but the work is worth it. And all of this, everything that's happening is being done for our greatest benefit. It really is. And like I said, it's going to happen regardless. So if you can get yourself into the right alignment in order to receive things with gratitude, it can only help you, you know, because life's going to keep lifing regardless. It's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be fun, but you can always do your best. You can always find reasons to be grateful. You can always find a way to still reach out and help others, care for others, grow, develop, mature, have fun. You know, there's always ways to do things to ensure that, you know, you're in alignment with what the universe has for you. And ultimately, that's going to be the clearest alignment. You know, quartz has, it's pure that way. And that allows it to be able to take all of the light and to transform it into all of the prisms, right? What a skill, what a beautiful craft. And that right there is the nature of alchemy. You know, that's what we're really talking about anyways. So I hope this is a blessing for you. I hope that whatever time of day it is, that you find yourself feeling rested and rejuvenated, healed, blessed, strong, sustainable, that you feel confident and happy and grateful, that you bless others with your blessings, and yeah, that you receive your experience well. And I appreciate your time, energy, and I will see you soon enough.